So we'll start on our mats. And so today we're focusing on finding center and what does that mean in the body physically and what does it mean from a more mental, spiritual aspect. Finding a nice tall spine, close the eyes, check in with the breath. How is the breath landing in the body today? Maybe the breathing feels shallow, or maybe it already feels nice and deep. Just find that natural, neutral breath. And then we feel centered, we feel like we're in this nice tall spine, but we're gonna do some movements to try to recalibrate back to center and figure out where that really is. So we're gonna start by just rocking side to side. So not circles, just truly side to side, like a metronome if you ever played piano as a kid. So maybe you start to make this rock a little bit bigger. So try not to lift up the opposite glute. Try to keep both glutes glued down, so maybe you're using your hands to press the knees down for stability. Maybe get a little bit wider with this back and forth. As wide as you're gonna get. And then start to come back and slow it down, coming back tighter into center. And just like a pendulum, slowly starting to come back to neutral. And notice where your body naturally lands. Find that center point. Let's take a cleansing breath. Inhale, reach. Exhale, let it go. We'll do that same rocking motion, but forward and back. So not the seated cat-cow that we sometimes find. We're truly just gonna rock forward and rock back. So we're not really doing anything much in the shoulders here. Start as slow as you'd like, but just rocking the spine forward and rocking it back. So that flexion and extension of the spine from the base. Maybe you find a little bit bigger of a movement. And if you're really craving that cat-cow, certainly throw a few of those in there. It's your practice. I realize I'm coming forward into some sort of light beam in my house. One or two more full rounds, go to your fullest extension. And then start to slow it down and start to come back to neutrality, to center. Awesome, slow it down until you find stillness. Close the eyes. Cleansing breath, inhale, reach the arms overhead. Exhale, sigh it out. Awesome. So we'll take a few circles just to create a little bit more movement. Doesn't matter which way you start. So short and sweet practice today. I've even done practices when I'm in a hotel and trying to get ready for something that are just 15 or 20 minutes before I get showered and dressed, and it's amazing how just even 15 or 20 minutes of moving and breathing can really reset for the day. So when you feel evened out, we'll roll forward, find our way to tabletop position. So we'll find the same idea of finding center here. So we'll walk the fingertips forward to where we feel like our tabletop should be. And then we're just gonna rock forward. So start to come over the wrist, a little farther past them, and rock back. So kind of coming in to a little baby child's pose. I'm on a squeaky part of my floor again. You keep moving. I'm gonna get off that squeaky part of the floor. So rock forward, shoulders past the wrist, and then hips past the knees. So find a little bit more movement like this. Breath is flowing nice and easy. Maybe you find a little bit more of a movement and you start to come more towards a full child's And then rock forward, maybe more towards the hips starting to melt down. Take another 2 or 3 rounds. Then start to slow it down and start to come back to neutral. Figure out where that neutral center spot is in the body and hold. Pull the belly button into the spine. Round a little bit up in the shoulders. Try not to drop into this too much. Cleansing breath here, big inhale through the nose. Exhale, let it go. Awesome, and then we'll find that cat-cow here. So think about dropping the belly, lifting the gaze, find a full nice stretch here. Peel the shoulders back. And then round the spine, tuck the chin. Start finding fuller expressions of your cat-cow. Taking the body out of that neutrality so we can find it again. Keep rolling 2 or 3 more times with your own breath. And then eventually start to slow down this rock. Bring it back. Or if you're in those cat-cows, find little baby versions. Wherever you are, we'll come back to this neutral spine. Awesome, we'll find child. So take the knees wide, drop the hips, and walk the fingertips forward. Five rounds of breath here in neutral. And then we'll walk the fingertips forward, energize, and then walk them over to the left and drop it back. Maybe right hand comes over left, melt the chest and the head. Walk it back through neutral and then take it over to the right. Come back to center and find that new center right in between where you walked it out to the side. Press the forehead into the mat. We're going to rock the forehead side to side. Slowly start to slow down the rock of the head. Find stillness. Start to walk the hands underneath the shoulders. Press yourself back up to table. We're going to do a few wrist stretches here just to warm up because we are going to come into a couple of planks, or you can keep the knees down. So turn one set of fingertips back towards the knees. Maybe you rock a little forward and back here. It's going to take up the intensity of the wrist stretch, so be gentle. Get into those typing, texting muscles. And then come back to neutral and switch. Come back to neutral. We're going to work into a plank. If you want to keep the knees down, feel free. Step the toes back one at a time, and then we're gonna spread the fingers nice and wide and find ourselves in our plank. Move a little forward and back. 3 more rounds of breath here. Eventually come back to neutral. And then we'll press back to down dog. So find your upside down V. Walk your knees. Start bending one knee and the other, walking your dog out. Option to stay here. Option to flip the toes, start to roll forward, find an up dog. And then flip the toes, take it back, find your down dog. We'll do 2 more like that. Flip the toes, up dog. Option to come to the knees and find a little cobra. Last time, roll it forward, shoulders over wrists, tuck the toes, lengthen across the belly, take it back, down dog. Awesome, start to walk it forward. Find your way to the front of the mat. Lift up halfway, inhale. Exhale, fold, nice big bend in the knees. We'll grab for ragdoll arms and start to sway. Swaying side to side, head and neck are heavy. Start to make these sways a little bit bigger. Getting into the hamstrings, the IT bands. Find your fullest expression of the swing with ragdoll arms. And then start to slow it down. Bring it back to neutral. Eventually slowing down so much you come to stillness. Slowly release halfway up, half lift, inhale, exhale, fold. Root down, rise up. Take it all the way overhead, fingertips touch. Exhale the hands down. We'll reach the left arm up and drop the right arm down. And then switch. Coming back to neutral in between. 2 more times each side. Try to keep the weight equal in the feet. Find a little side body opening. Last time. Awesome, bring the hands together. Then bring the hands down to the heart. We're gonna work into a little bit of a warrior series, so I'm gonna move my blanket out of the way. I won't need it right now. So come to the front of your mat, find your mountain pose. So I'll turn towards you. Mountain is our most centered, rooted pose, where all other standing poses originate from. So allow the shoulders to fall away from the ears. Fingers spread nice and wide, equal weight in the feet. Awesome. Get a little bend in the knees. And then we'll step the left foot back, find our warrior 1. So shoulders and hips start to square to the front. Rise the arms up and release. Make sure that front knee is coming more towards the pinky toe. And the feet are more on railroad tracks. Awesome. Open up warrior 2. So here's one where center sometimes feels hard to find. So I'll look at people a lot in class and they'll be really surfed forward. Occasionally people are surfed back, but usually it's surfed forward. So the idea of center here, we'll find it through this movement. So surf your fingertips forward and then back, keeping the legs as they are. Find some movement here, same as before. Maybe reach a little farther. Awesome, and eventually starting to slow this movement down until you can come back and find neutral. So neutral for me is usually shoulders over hips, squaring the shoulders and the hips to the long edge of the mat, and then gazing over the front fingertips. Awesome. Turn all 10 toes to face the long edge. Reach. Then we're going to turn the other way. So hop this right foot out. Find your warrior one on the other side. You can flip around if it's easier to see what's going on. So bend into the left knee. Right foot out a little and at a 45-degree angle. Reach it up, warrior one. Check in with the breath. Beautiful, open up warrior two. So front knee, which in this case is the left knee, is bent. Front heel, back arch in alignment. Reach the arms long. We'll find that same motion. So reach forward and then take it back. Trying to keep the low body in stillness. Maybe find a little bit more dramatic of a version of this. It's also a little bit of a workout in the core. And eventually start to slow it down. Start to find your version of center. Maybe starting to square hips and shoulders. 3 more rounds of breath. Awesome, come back to neutral, turn all 10 toes to face the long edge. Inhale, lift long, exhale, fold it forward halfway and hold. Come to the hands on the mat. And we'll just find a little sway here, side to side. Just getting into the hamstrings. Eventually slowing the sway down, starting to come back to neutral, right in between the feet. And hold. Three more rounds of breath here. And then for the next 3 rounds of breath, start to rock forward towards the ball mounds of the feet and rock back towards the heels. So finding yourself a little out of balance as you rock. Maybe you start to lift the heels and the toes up. And then using that to find neutrality. 2 more rounds of breath. Awesome, rise up halfway. We're gonna hop the feet together and find our way to our mats. So if you need your blanket, we're not going into Shavasana yet, it's not that short of a class, but if you need your blanket, just grab it for later. We'll start to come down to the belly, but we're gonna get there via some movement and our boat pose. So start to rock back on the back and rock back up. So finding this back and forth. Couple more times. Notice that point where you can kind of naturally hold. And then maybe find your boat pose. Tiny bit of core stability here. One more time, rock. Then find your boat pose and hold. Finding that point where it feels a little more effortless because you're finding some balance. Awesome, cross at the ankles. We'll start to rock back. Walk the feet out. Windshield wiper the knees side to side. Pull the right knee into the chest. The left foot can stay on the mat or extend long depending on how things feel. Roll out the right ankle. Take the right knee wide. Find half happy baby. Reach for the right foot. Right knee pulls down towards the earth. Right foot opens towards the ceiling. Check in with your breath. And then pull this right foot in towards the left, or the left crook of the elbow. Start to rock your hip side to side. Excuse me. It's not pleasant to sneeze while laying down. Rock the hip side to side. So you're pulling your knee across the body and then pulling it back to the right. Just getting some mobility in that hip. You're rocking your little leg baby. Awesome. Then pull the right knee into the chest. We'll pick the hips up, take our twist, right knee across the body. Reach the right arm out. So even our twist can bring us back to that idea of center. One half of the body is going one direction away from center line, the other going the opposite. Awesome. Come back to center. Pull the knees into the chest. Rock a little side to side. Massage out the low back. And then right sole of the foot plants down or extends. Long left knee pulls in. Roll out the ankle. And you're going to take this left knee out wide. Reach it up. Find your half happy baby. Settle the shoulders. Bring this left foot across the body. Start to rock the knee back and forth. Get some movement into that hip. For me, this hip is not as tight for whatever reason. So things may feel different. Doesn't mean you're doing it incorrectly. Just may mean that sides are different. Pull the knee into the chest. Pick the hips up, move them to the left, and then pull the left knee across the body. Find that twist across center line. Come back to neutral, hug both knees in. Final inversion, we'll take full happy baby. There's another inversion that you like. If shoulder stand is in your practice, headstand, you just like waterfall with the legs straight up. Any inversion that feels good. Otherwise, reach for both blades of the feet or back to the knees, wherever you can catch. Allow the shoulders to melt down into the earth. Close the eyes, find this neutrality of being balanced and in center. One more round of breath. Slowly release the soles of the feet. Hug the knees in, rock side to side. If there's any other postures that you need to round out your practice, otherwise, we're going to shut up for a short little Shavasana, and then I'll bring us back together, give you that reading, and we'll close class. So if you feel complete, squeeze into a nice tight ball, and then start to work your way into your version of Shavasana, corpse pose, final resting. Allow the hands to fall open or to rest on the belly. Nestle the shoulders under. Release any hold on the breath. Allow the space between the eyebrows to melt. Breathe relaxation down through the center line of the body. letting it seep out from there. Take rests, and I'll bring us back together in a few minutes. Slowly starting to bring some awareness back to the breath. Bringing your awareness back into the space. Rubbing the thumbs along the fingertips. Getting some movement and some warmth. Pull the knees into the chest, and we'll just start to rock gently up to a comfortable seat. So allowing the eyes to be heavy or closed, finding a nice neutral seat. Finding meaning to life can be one of the hardest things to do, especially when we crave for solid confirmation that we matter. The universe is not offended by doubt. In fact, it wants us to question its nature, to teeter on the edge of uncertainty, and explore our personal spirituality, as this is what causes us to evolve. Finding fulfillment and meaning in life comes back to those sacred questions. Is there more to our existence? Fulfillment is the product of gratitude for our life experiences, and thus does not rely on the exact nature of the universe. However, during times of pain, gratitude and fulfillment can quickly be snuffed out. This is why the sage retreats and fasts in a cave to test the limits of his or her gratitude. How much can we lose and still remain fulfilled? I'll read that again, as I think it's especially appropriate for this time. How much can we lose and still remain fulfilled? How much can we scrape away at our own significance and still find joy? If you're grateful for life, then you have given it meaning. It's as simple as that. When you contemplate the nature of life, you open the door for even more meaning to come through, which is the beauty of spirituality. So we think of that scraping away of everything that we are used to and we find normal. Come to that core being, that fulfillment of just existing. Can be centering to take away all the excess. Come back to neutral, come back to square one. How much can we lose? How much can be taken? And we can still find fulfillment and feel centered and grounded. Let's take a few cleansing breaths together. Inhale, reach the fingertips overhead. Exhale, let it go. 2 more times. Inhale, reach. Exhale, side out. Last time, inhale, reach. Exhale, let it go. Connect the knuckles of the thumbs to the sternum, symbolizing the connection of our body to our breath. Taking a moment to find gratitude for what we still have that fulfills us. Gratitude for all these basic necessities we no longer take for granted. And gratitude for those strong relationships, family and friends, even if we're not in person, that we know are still there, still holding us up, supporting us. Reminding yourself that you are enough just as you are right now. You have always been enough. You will always be enough. No change is needed. No apologies necessary. Taking this sense of feeling centered, grateful, and enough with you through the rest of your day and your week. It's truly my honor to guide you through your practice. The light in me sees and honors the light in each of you. Namaste.